Hello, visionaries. This is your host, the INFJ visionary. Don't really have much of a topic today. I was thinking a bit about, I saw a video from Ren and he was talking about INFJ desire, INTJ, INFJ, and that's because he's working towards a book on introverted intuition. It makes sense. I mean, come on. Why sell to just INFJs when you could get the INTJs corralled in? I will say that I think although we share that as a primary function with the INTJs, I don't think they're very similar to us other than, they're very intuitive. But the way they operate is very different indeed. But I was thinking about desire. We have lots of different ways desire can manifest. And of course, desire is given a bit of a bad name, and rightly so. It can take over. And I think it's a definite weak spot for us. And this is it's not an unconscious function, the extroverted sensing, but it's the lowest in our stack. And predominantly it operates by feeding information to the introverted intuition. That's its proper place and function. I do know that I've had friends that would give me a hard time for not noticing things in the real world, and it's not so much that I don't notice things, it's that I realize that everybody is filtering all of the time. Everybody's choosing what to pay attention to and what not to. I think it's more that my sense of what's important and what isn't might be different from the person that's criticizing me. But that said, let's talk about the extroverted sensing through the lens of desire. Either desire as it manifests in the form of lust, which is, I'll never forget old C.S. Joseph. In his video, one of his excellent videos about INFJs, pointed out that that was a real issue for us, and I think it can be for any type, of course, but for us, because for most of the time, I think our brains are occupied by lofty ideals and pursuits, and it's different, of course, if you're wired as a male or a female. I think it is, but I can't speak for the females. I can only speak for the males. In that you could be pursuing any number of lofty and interesting ideas, only to be distracted by somebody attractive walking by. And then a whole set of apparatus clicks into play. Now, that's a natural part of being a human being. I'm not into subjugating it or trying to push it down, and that's one of my big issues I always had with the Christianity. Although I will give it to Christianity that without some sort of control, the humans are so incredibly oversexed that we wouldn't be able to properly build societies. things like things like clothes and certain moral strictures and things like that. They're necessary, and I'm also a big believer in monogamy as well. I think societies that have polygamy, what you end up with is a bunch of winners and losers there. In that the dude with the most amount of attractiveness to the females is going to have multiple wives, and then you're going to have a bunch of disgruntled guys running around with nothing. And maybe that's how it is. Actually, look, there's a proof. Look at our society now. I think you have the phenomenon of the incel, and it's a sad state of affairs. I think it's better for somebody to find everybody to find somebody. But getting back to the looking at it through the INFJ lens of desire, it's not just lust, of course. I think, as I pointed out in a recent video, you might have a desire for some sort of acknowledgement, especially if you're creating work that is at a high level of mastery, whether it be musical or artistic or writing or what have you. It's quite difficult, I think, to produce things that are significant, and not desire to have an audience, and not desire to have even a limited amount of acknowledgement. Now, I have certainly received acknowledgement for the things I've done, not on the level of a famous person, though, and that could be, well, you don't know what that would be like. I think, actually, that's perhaps one of the greatest issues with our culture is this, the status because of fame. It precludes a lot of people from actually ever getting in the game and trying to get their work out there, because there's a certain type of a person that will be most attracted to collecting attention. And if you combine that with actually creating stuff, then you're going to have the most successful artist or musician in any category, right? Because they've got the social game. They know how to get people on board. So there's that desire. There might be the desire for understanding and enlightenment, and that's definitely one that I have, and I think I've accrued a certain amount of understanding. But the thing is to go from that level of understanding what it means to be an enlightened person and actually being one is a chasm. I think it's a vast, vast chasm. But that's definitely a struggle that's worth pursuing, and that's sort of on the level of positive desires. But you can click into realms of what's called spiritual materialism, and I saw a lot of that when I was involved. I used to when I was involved with spiritual groups and things. I used to run spiritual book group, and I got out of it because of that spiritual materialism, and predominantly, I'll tell you why I got out of it. I got out of it because most of the people there were just, psychologically damaged, as we all are, and looking for help, looking for some kind of succor, and I can't blame them for that. However, I've patched myself together about as good as it's going to come together, so that's not what I'm interested in. I'm actually interested in answers to the deep spiritual questions, and we've talked a bit about some of those here, and let's go ahead and we'll pull the camera right back around, though, to desire. I didn't actually get all the way through Ren's videos. Sometimes he loses me, because I will be honest with you, I think there's a lot of value to the Jungian archetype system. I think there's a lot of value to understanding the dynamics that go into your persona, and mostly from the standpoint of what your preferences are for how you parse reality. It's incredibly useful to have a language for that, and it can really help those of us that maybe spent, I didn't really know I was an INFJ until I was in my 30s. All I knew before then is that I was different, I found it incredibly helpful. But that said, the idea that everything, not everything, but most of the problems and issues and insights you might have in your adult life are going to be the direct byproduct of things that impacted you at a very, very young age. The desire for the mother's breast and all of that sort of thing. I think, yes, there's something to it, but I think one of the reasons why psychology has fallen so deeply out of favor is that I don't personally see, it's good not to hide from maybe the bad things that happened to you in your past. It's definitely not good to hide or bury those things, but it's also not good to dredge them up, because reliving that pain doesn't necessarily solve anything. It doesn't necessarily make you better. The exception of this, of course, is to people that are maybe into some kind of self-deceit or hiding matrix where they're repressing things. But to me, I think there's a lot of other stuff going on than just childhood trauma. And this is one reason why I only go so far with the psychology rap. But good on Ren. He goes pretty far, pretty deep, and a lot of things that do interest me. And hopefully some of the things I had to say you found interesting. And until I come back in a couple of days with another one of these, Keep on keeping on, INFJ.